Hi everyone. Um, I'm back. This is my second video today. I I've been saying to myself, there are no rules to this YouTube thing, and one thing I would like to get going is just the act of making more, creating more. Um, Based off the video I just put out, probably about 10 minutes ago, but I recorded earlier. I wanted to get into one aspect of um things I talked about in that video, which is my schedule. And over the next coming days, I probably will start to share bits and pieces of what this looks like for me personally, um, and share by recording what I'm doing at these different times and how I'm setting myself up for success during these different times. And yeah, I just want to put this out there because this might be of help to somebody. So I'm gonna talk about my day. Now this isn't every day, but this is my ideal day. And even let's unpack that concept a little bit. Ideal day. Ideal day is essentially how you would envision the day to go if it could go right every single day. And as somebody who enjoys exercising and eating at a specific time and enjoys bringing in new habits like reading, enjoys having a consistent bedtime, I decided that I was going to plan and break up my day into chunks. And it's not a new thing to me. I've been trying to make an ideal day for the last probably 2 or 3 years, maybe even longer, maybe 4 years. And it all just clicked for me probably sometime around this summer when I started redesigning my ideal day. Once I decided that I wasn't going to be um, as heavily focused on just school. So I broke my day into essentially 6 parts. And these 6 parts, I think, are quite adaptable for anybody who wants to build an ideal day, which I would be able to help anyone if they're interested in learning how to do this. I've built a dozen ideal days for any scenario I'm going through in my life, but I built one that works for everything for me personally. This isn't achievable for everyone. Some people need um what I would call moderate iterations. There'll be different levels of iterations that many would need. When I was in school, some of these things weren't necessarily on my ideal day. Some were, in fact, were initially there when I went to school, but going through the semester, I eventually took it out. And now that I am not there anymore, there's and I try to have like a schedule and be organized as an individual, functioning adults. I essentially just follow this. It's my routine, and it's not something that's foreign to you as an individual out there. It's not something that should be foreign to anybody. Um, because school does this, it gives us a schedule. It tells us where to be at what time every day, every week. Now, what we do as individuals is we plan our lives around that. What I started doing before I was in school was that I would just essentially plan my life and then plan school around that. Not many people do it the other way around, where they have the ideal day and then they plan their classes and school around that. Or just work around their ideal day, because 9 to 5 and all this stuff. But I can give you mine because mine is, like I said, six. I can't use the other finger because I'm holding the camera, but 6 easy pieces. Shout out Richard Feynman. All right. The first part of my ideal day is called core. For me personally, core happens between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. For someone else, it could happen later. Some people it might be earlier. It's really up to individual. And the idea behind core, I'm just gonna grab my notebook right here because I've written it down. The idea behind core is that this is the 20% of your day that will fuel the other 80% of the day. Essentially, the activities that are done during core will help you throughout the rest of your day. For example, my core consists of meditation, either through the form of journaling or just focused attention on nothing but my thoughts and silence. Any form of meditation that I choose to practice on that day. So my core consists of meditation, and it consists of exercising. Exercise is quite important to me because I need to I find it fundamentally a part of my life at this point in time. I wasn't somebody who always used to exercise when I was growing up. I played lots of sports, but the older you get, for some reason, people just don't remember that exercise is important. Quite literally, the amount of exercise you do determines if the longevity of your life. And I've seen people slightly older than me, my age, even younger than me, they get to this point. I'm 23, so they get to this point where they don't necessarily know how to take care of their body anymore. They don't know that, you're supposed to be stretching every day. This is the very important stuff. You're supposed to lift weights every day. This helps build muscle mass, and muscle mass helps your body drastically. It really is one thing that you cannot go without. You're supposed to run from time to time, so you're supposed to get cardio in every day to a large degree. And during my core, I tried to hit this. No, I said we tried to hit this because me and my wife have roughly the same core, but we do try to hit this together, and we just essentially fuel our body with the things it needs in order to win the day or win the week or win the year. And one thing you're going to, I hope, pick up or not pick up is that this is designed in a way for I to be consistent. Consistency is what matters the most in all of this, because there's no point in having an ideal day that only works on Monday but doesn't work Tuesday and Wednesday. It has to be consistent. It has to be follow through. Like, you have to be able to follow it till the letter every single week, every single day. So core is essential. Core is one of those things that if I was saying you should plan your ideal day, you should make time for core, that's why it's called core. It's your center. It's the space where you come alive. That's how it fuels your energy. It's just that, like the earth has this tiny core fireball thing that it just like holds planet in place while it rotates on an axis. That's you. So you need your core. And after core, there's other things in core like showering. Grooming is important. You have to be able to make yourself presentable every single day. I think everybody needs that. Or I know everyone needs that. That's quite important. So yeah, so after core, it comes my deep work. And my deep work usually takes from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, there's the thing about deep work. I had to read this book. What's it called? Deep Work, yes. I had to read Deep Work by Cal Newport to really get into the philosophy of what deep work is. Essentially, if I could give you this in a nutshell, to do important work in the past, you had to devote a certain amount of time to focus on a given task for hours on end. And that is the philosophy behind deep work in a nutshell. It's just extreme focus on the task or multiple tasks you're doing for hours a day without the distraction of your phone, distraction of people, distraction of anyone texting you. All of that stuff you have to put away. All that stuff I put away during deep work. Because the moment I get a notification, the call switching in my brain just ding, and my attention switches from the thing that I'm supposed to give extreme focus to into something else that doesn't matter right now, or it won't matter to me 7 weeks from now or 7 days from now. And essentially, for me personally, I usually keep deep work to a minimum of one task and a maximum of three. Three is really a stretch. I usually just keep it to two tasks a day. I may work on one thing for 3 hours and another thing for 2 hours, and that's the 5 hours of my deep work session. And I do this every day because it just keeps on going. You eventually come to find out that the problem with doing work is not that you have too much work to do. It's actually that you can't focus on one single piece of work for a day and just keep it going. So let's say this week you had 11 items to cross out, right? Instead of trying to do all three of them or four of them between for example 8 a.m. and let's say 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. in a day, and just like, yeah, I'm gonna try and knock these 11 things out today. I would strategically place myself at the point where it's like, this looks like a 2 hour task and this looks like a 3 hour task, and I just do pick one or two for the day, and that's it. Because Tuesday will come, Wednesday will come, Thursday will come, Friday will come, and Saturday will come. Well, Saturday you don't really have to work, but Saturday is a good day to work too, if you have time. Well, I prefer to relax. And by doing that, I realized that just giving extreme focus to certain things for 3 hour spans to 2 hour spans, actually making my brain engaged on these things for these long periods of times, pushes me forward in terms of the work I'm doing. Because in 3 hours, you'd be surprised how much you can get done when you're just doing one thing. Sometimes it takes way less time, and then I have extra time for deep work. And I just pick up another task out of, let's say, the bucket of 11 that I mentioned earlier, and I start working on that. And just by working on it a little bit, I can see what I need to get done tomorrow or need to get done 3 days from now. And sum up, that's just how deep work works for me personally. If you probably program, you've probably heard about deep work. I don't think it's not a new concept in the space of people who are programmers. Programmers are actually notorious for doing deep work because to get efficient code done, you actually have to work for hours on end without being interrupted. Which, and the funny thing about deep work is that it puts the Pomodoro method to shame, because the Pomodoro method has this idea that task switching isn't as big a deal. And maybe in the past it wasn't, but especially nowadays in our new digital age where there's notifications flying left and right, task switching is detrimental to the work you do. It doesn't help you. It just holds you back from getting anything done in a meaningful amount of time, meaningful amount of days, and just allowing you to still enjoy your day. After deep work, I have lunch. And for me, lunch is essentially the last meal of my day. That's not every day, but let's say out of the week, 5 days, 5 days out of the week, or even sometimes 6 days out of the week, lunch is my last meal. It's probably, I don't need to get into my own personal lunch, but because I tweak it all the time to try and see how to improve it slightly, and but I try to get everything in, protein, carbs, vegetables, um, fats, something fermented. So, but I'm not going to get into lunch because I'm pretty sure everybody has their own lunch practice. And um, maybe, but if somebody wants me to just get into lunch and how I think about lunch, I don't mind sharing my thoughts on that because, this is quite important. Um, I will say, however, though, the reason that why lunch is but my last main meal of the day is because I've found that everybody's body needs time to process the food that we eat throughout the day. And having lunch, having dinner at 6 p.m. when you're trying to be someone who goes to bed at 8 or 9 p.m. doesn't really work. Um, at least for me, it doesn't work because those 3 hour windows, I personally don't find to be enough time to get majority of the waste out of my body. So I've made lunch the biggest meal of the day for me personally. It's not too big. It's not some overconsumption hour. It's really just time that I personally um would say it's just lunch. It's just a meal that I would say is better had earlier in the day and better had as the last meal of the day instead of this conceptual idea of dinner. What I see people do wrong with dinner all the time is they have a big meal because they've had a long day and they think their body needs like that big meal to just like charge them up. Or your body doesn't need that. Your body actually would do much better and you would have a higher quality of sleep if you ate less at dinner and you ate lunch earlier or you had dinner earlier. So essentially that's lunch for me. After lunch, I have what I call flow state. Now, the reason I call this flow state is because it's where I hop into a flow of things. I may have some personal tasks to do for the day, whether it's running around doing errands. I may have another deep work session. Sometimes I have one more deep work session, a 2 hour deep work section where I have to get some extra work that I would that has to get done the day that day based on the work I have to do throughout the week. And essentially, flow state is just my movement time because sometimes it's really, I need a second workout. So I go on my bike and I go on a bike ride, a nice long bike ride. Or I just grab my flow rope and I get a little flow rope session in where I just move my spine, get my spine going actively throughout the day based on the fact that I've been sitting down too long, or I've been essentially just not moving enough throughout the day. Usually I can kind of tell what I need each day. Right now I'm recording this video, if I'm not mistaken, around 2 p.m. This is flow state time. I wanted to create more, so I just said, I have my flow state time. I'm going to create right now. That's how it works. That's how it reasons in my head. How I use my flow state time. Because after this, I might just grab a flow rope and just flow around for a little bit, just to get my spine active from sitting down and recording this video. After flow state, I have essentially what I call my personal time. And the personal time is time for you in the day. Usually my personal time sometimes, for the most part, starts at 4 p.m. Sometimes it starts at 5, depending on the work I have to get done. If my flow state is something that might have taken an extra hour, that's fine. Because sometimes I could be on a bike ride for 2 hours, come back, the shower and all that stuff. That's an extra hour gone right there. So yeah, that's my personal time. I usually read during my personal time. I have a book at hand. Sometimes I'm watching a movie with my wife. Sometimes I'm what else do I do during personal time? Sometimes I'm drawing or making working on a project or thinking about um what I need to get done the next day. Sometimes I plan my next day during my personal time. Um, a lot of times I plan my next day during my personal time. And after my personal time, this is the last part of the day, which I call wind down. And the wind down session is where I shut down for the day. It's showering, brushing my teeth, to get ready for bed, cleaning my apartment so that I don't wake up in the morning and see a mess all over the place. So I that's dishes away, countertops clean, my work table is cleared out so that in the morning it's just ready for work, and I have like my notepad open so I walk into the work that I'm going to get done the next day. And yeah, that's really what the wind down session. Usually it's about 35, 45 minutes before I go to bed, and afterwards I just head to bed. I sleep and I'm back again up the next day at 4 a.m. Same schedule running next day. So I don't know if this will help anybody, but if you would like to see, if you'd like help creating a schedule, let me know. Comment down below and just say that I would like some help figuring out my own personal schedule, and I'll be more than happy to help because I've helped my siblings create their personal schedules. I've helped my wife create personal schedule. I've helped friends who ask for help. I don't mind helping people just to create their own personal schedule, or their own ideal day. But yeah, this to stay to not make this video run longer than it needs to. This ideal day happens every day from Sunday to Saturday. Saturday the same thing happens, Sunday the same thing happens. It's tweaked a little bit on the weekends because like on Saturday morning I go grocery shopping, and on a Sunday morning I go to the gym to go rock climbing. But the essentially the concept of the day flows the same way. Starts with core, a deep work session, going into lunch, post lunch being a flow state. After my flow state, I get into personal time, wind down, and then sleep. Next day, same thing. Yeah, stay blessed, and yeah, let me know if you need any help. Peace.